Hi guys, this is Shasta with the Freedom Education Movement, and I'm so excited that you're going to take this time to watch this little video that's going to introduce you to what the Freedom Education Movement is about. I just wanted to say hi and pop in with my face so that you see that I'm a real person. I am the one that is running the program right now, and I am super excited to be working with so many families right now as they make that transition from the traditional education system and mindset into a more interest-led and passion-based learning environment for their kids that empowers their kids, builds their hearts and minds and self-esteem, and creates learning that is fun and engaging and meaningful for their life. So welcome. I look forward to joining you. You can join the Facebook group. There's a workshop that I'm actually hosting free for everybody right now, just to get everybody started, to offer some support and help. And I look forward to seeing you in those places. Welcome.
The Freedom Education Movement is all about defining education differently, challenging traditional schooling, believing that passion and interest fuels learning, and connecting learning to life. This is for parents who want something different. If traditional education has not been working, then please don't try to recreate that at home. Okay, if it's not working in the public school, it's probably not going to work in your house. It's time to change the pattern of educational frustration that we all have, especially when we're first starting and all we know is what we've experienced, and that's the traditional systematic education classroom style. But I believe that if we will start focusing on kids' mindset and their mental health and combine that with interest-based learning experiences, we can create educational opportunities for our kids that are not only going to help them academically, but they are going to build their heart, build their mind, empower them, and strengthen them in ways where they will have everything they need to pursue academics. I think we have it flip-flopped. We are so focused on academics that we are leaving these kids' hearts and minds behind, and it doesn't matter about their academics if they can't control who they are, if they have no hope and no future. And I'm going to go over that a lot more, but that is what the Freedom Education Movement is all about. So if you are believing that and feeling this, then let's keep going. So I'm going to just talk about how the Freedom Education Movement helps parents create happy and successful educational experiences. And we work with families, even if you have no idea what you're doing, or you do have an idea, or maybe you've been homeschooling, but you feel stuck, you feel frustrated, you feel disconnected from your kids. This is going to show you, the program is going to show you how to get unstuck and all the great ways that you can create a learning experience at home for your kids that will work. You know, we've always been told that kids have to go to school and they're put in grades based on their age, and that curriculum that is based on that age in that classroom is the only way to educate students to be successful. And I mean, that's the way we've been doing it since school's been set up, but guess what? That's not working, and it hasn't been working for a long time, and it's still not working. And so we have to change the way that we do that. We'll help you guys see how we can change from those age and grade-based level curriculums and learning tools and move on to something that is better. I believe more than anything, mindset matters most. Yes, academics are important, but they are not the most important thing for our kids. And academics will not matter later on in life if our kids' hearts and minds are in the right place. I don't know if you know, but the self-help industry for adults is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's because adults are reaching a point in their life where they cannot function at their jobs, they're not functioning in their families, they're not functioning as individuals because they don't have the tools, because they don't have the resources or the understanding to fix the mental struggles that they're having. Now, they might know how to do some of the stuff they learned in school academically, but that is not helping them. Imagine if we could change that and flip the switch. What if we could take just a fraction of that time and energy that's going into adults and fixing adults and put it into kids? Not to fix them. I mean, we can fix them, but if they're already broken, what if we go ahead and give them the tools and the resources now so that they don't have to be fixed as adults, so that they can learn how to use those tools to become kids who are able to process their emotions, kids who are able to work through poor self-esteem and self-worth issues. If we can change that now, then why wouldn't we? That is what the freedom education movement is all about. I believe that we have to do that, and we're not doing that in the traditional education system. So we can do that at home. It doesn't matter how smart a kid is, how many awards they get, how many tests they can pass. If they don't believe in who they are and they don't have the tools to be resilient in life, then no amount of academics is going to make a difference in the world if that person eventually gives up or just cannot function. We have the highest rate of suicides in the adults right now because they feel stuck and lost and confused and depressed. And yet somehow we keep thinking that, let's just keep pushing academics. Academics matter. It doesn't, guys. It does, but it doesn't matter more than mindset. We have to do that. Life isn't what it used to be. Scientific evidence shows that their brains are working differently, more differently than ever. So if the adults that are the adults now are struggling, imagine how much more this generation is going to struggle when they get into their adulthood if we don't find a way to help them now. I believe we are moving into a new paradigm of educating, and we can be that shift that completely changes the way that we teach our kids and raise our kids, and that we're going to be the ones that are going to raise adults that are going to be able to handle life better, that are going to have the resources, that are going to have that growth mindset, ability to work through the hard things where academics aren't able to step in and create those resources for them. I believe if we will create child-centered education, that we will invest in the hearts and minds of kids, and we can create confident dreamers and doers. We can empower our kids to be unafraid to follow their passions, chase their dreams, and become who they are supposed to be. Become their authentic selves instead of becoming these robotic little children that are told what to do, how to think, when to think. Yes, structure is important. Guidance is important. But that doesn't have to be everything that shapes who they are. Kids should be able to shape who they are and be empowered to do that. And so part of what we're doing through the freedom education movement is helping parents understand personality types, learning styles, love languages, interest-led and passion-based learning, and how to create educational opportunities through that so that kids can be connected to academics but also be inspired and motivated with it. Because connection, inspiration, and motivation, those are the skills that make the most impact in a child's learning process. And they will impact a kid way more than just any kind of set curriculum, a textbook, or testing ever will. If a kid's heart or mind is hurting or they're wandering, then you have nothing to lose by creating a learning journey like this. If their mind is already out there going somewhere else, we have a way to pull them back in. And the public education system isn't doing very well at that. I can assure you, as a teacher who's been in the public education system, who is very involved in that community still, it is a struggle, and the pandemic has not helped at all. It is so bad. We are losing kids' focus, their attention, their mind, their motivation. It's like gone right now. And if you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, I'm not a certified teacher. First of all, you can always connect. There are plenty of certified teachers out there who are working online, offering tutoring. There's online curriculum. We'll get into all that. You can connect with other people, but I just want to assure you that you can do it. There are so many resources out there, and that's part of what the movement, freedom education movement, is about, is to help connect you to those resources, explain what the resources are, and help you find the right resources that work with you. You want to create an environment for your kid, and you know your kid the best. So you want to create something for them that's going to work best for them. Who better to do that than you? You can do that. I promise. I know a lot of you are here because you're scared. You're scared you're not going to be enough. You're scared you're not going to know what to do. The goal of the freedom education movement is to help you let go of the fear, okay? Let go of the fear that traditional education is the only way that works, okay? And to empower you that you can create a learning experience for your child that will help them feel confident in life and education and is going to meet their specific needs. We're going to help you calm that anxiety when you're getting stressed out, because you need to be filled with peace, because when you have peace about what you're doing, you're going to be so much more capable of investing and helping your kids thrive and be at peace themselves. And I know I have cried my own tears over my kids, over what my kids have experienced, over not being sure that what I can do for them is the best. But I promise you that if you will surround yourself with a community and connect yourself with the right resources, that you can find joy in creating this for your kid and doing homeschooling for your kid. And in your joy, you will light a fire and a passion in your kids, and you will ignite them again. And you can empower your kids to excel in life by giving them the tools to have a happy heart and a happy mind, and skills to have a mindset that can go through hard things. And in that, you create this passion-based learning and this interest-based learning, and they will learn how to pursue learning. They will figure it out, I promise you. So whether you're already homeschooling or you're just thinking about homeschooling, and whether you're afraid and you think you can't do it, or you're already doing it but you're just kind of feeling overwhelmed, you're in luck. Okay? Because we're going to help you create curriculum and learning experiences that are not based on age-based curriculum, that's not systematic, that is going to meet individual interest, ability, and needs. And if you're wondering how I can promise all this, it's because I have been in education for 17 years. So I never actually wanted to be an educator. I know that's kind of funny how I've stayed in it so long, but I actually went to school to do sign language because I had such a terrible experience in school. I thought I would never, ever even return to my hometown, much less go teach at the school where I was so miserable. And I went to school to do sign language interpreting. And when I graduated, I ended up moving back to my hometown, and there's not a lot of jobs, a little small town. And so the French teacher was retiring, and I thought, well, there's no deaf people to interpret for, so maybe I could teach sign language as a foreign language. I had to do something. And so that's what I ended up doing. And I loved it. I loved my kids. I loved teaching sign language. My first 7 years were fantastic. And then the morale at the school went crazy, and a lot of it had to do with state testing and standardized testing. And here I am enjoying my little hole-in-the-wall classroom and teaching my kids sign language, and I always incorporated mindset and, self-esteem stuff in my class all the time with my kids anyway. And all of a sudden, they started telling me I had to teach my kids writing in my sign language class. Okay, fine, I can be supportive. Then they started evaluating my teaching based on the kids' writing and math scores. And I was like, what in the world? I'm teaching sign language. My kids can sign. They could sign songs. It didn't matter. The school system had a system in place. The system doesn't make sense. Doesn't matter if it makes sense. They do what they do because it's all based around funding. Everything's based around funding. And if you already know this, then you get it. And if you don't, I'm sorry. There you go. So I get it. I have been in education and I have stepped out of it. I do still teach online, but we're not meeting these kids' needs. Not in a lot of the online stuff is very information based, and we're not doing a lot to connect with kids. And so kids are getting very disconnected from their teachers, and very disconnected from the point of education and learning. They really don't see a point in it. And unless we change that, we're going to have a lot of problems. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate. I've also gotten very, very passionate about neuroscience and studying how the brain works because I had to go through my own healing. I was a foster kid. I was adopted, and I've been through a lot of what I call trauma and drama in my life. And as an adult, I have struggled well into my 30s. It took me into my 30s for me to figure out that mindset was even a thing and that I could fix my self-esteem issues. I had no idea. I had always been told, just pray about it. Pray about it. It'll get better. Didn't get better. I thought I was a failure at life and at my religion. So I really just realized in the last few years on my own, what I call my heal and deal journey, that there's so many of us. There's so many of us as adults that have to figure out how to heal. And what am I doing for my kids? I don't want my kids to go through their teens and their 20s and their 30s and struggle with who they are and what they're supposed to do in life. Great. They have good grades in school. Wonderful. So did I. I was in gifted. I was an honors kid. It didn't matter. I went to college because I was told I had to go to college. None of that helped my mental health or my self-esteem issues. We have to change that. If you can't tell, I'm pretty passionate about this. Okay, so a little bit, that's a little bit about my background with education, just so you know that I do know what I'm talking about and I do have experience in this world. And when it comes to my own kids, I have done a little bit of everything with them. I have put them in school. They've been in public school. They've been homeschooled. They've unschooled. We road schooled. But we started off in a boat in the Keys of Florida, and we went up to the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we went over to Colorado in the mountains, and we went up to Oregon. We got to see the Goonies rock. That was so cool. We went to Yellowstone while we were out there. We went down the West Coast into the redwood forest, and we stayed in the redwood trees. We visited Mount Shasta because, I got to go see Mount Shasta. And we went to down into the desert in California. We went to, where else did we go? Oh, the Grand Canyon, and came back to Florida where we got stuck because of the pandemic. So in all that, my kids road schooled, and we didn't do a standard curriculum. We just learned what we wanted to learn. When we saw clouds, we looked up clouds. When we saw mountains, we looked up different kinds of mountains and how they were formed and, why there are different trees. We looked up all kinds of stuff. But guess what? I'm going to tell you something. We're back, and my one son wanted to go to school for a little bit. So he went to school. Guess what? After 2 years of no school, he's making the highest grades in the class. We haven't done any standard curriculum. He is doing just fine in a classroom. He wants back out already, but he is surpassing all these public school kids that have been in school or doing school, and he's fine. So I just want to encourage you that you can do this, and you can create whatever you want, and things can work for your kids. So the Freedom Education Workshop is the first thing that I'm offering. And so this is just kind of like an introduction of, hey, what is the Freedom Education Movement? What's it about? Who am I? The workshop is a free workshop. And in this workshop, I am going to help you go over 6 main parts of what the Freedom Education Movement is going to be built on and what you need to know to really get started on this homeschooling journey. And so the first one is just face the fear, and it's going to go over just dealing with your fears. I don't think you can ever get over your fears. We always worry about our kids. We will always. That's part of being a parent. So instead of saying we're going to defeat the fear, I'm going to give you tools to face it, and tools that you can use to suppress the fears when they're getting overwhelming. Because I don't think we'll ever totally get over fears, or there will always be new fears that come up. The next little module that I'm going to have in that workshop is Rethink, Refine, Redo. And it's all about deschooling. And if you've done any research on homeschooling, you've probably heard of deschooling. So deschooling is all about taking that time to process and to work into learning all this stuff and relearning how to do education, because all we know is the traditional system. Connected teaching and learning is the next module, and I'm just going to show you all about love languages and personality styles and learning styles, and how do you create a connected environment where you bond with your kid through their education. The fourth module will be methods, models, and styles. So as you know, in the school system, they put kids in grades based on their age. and they have a curriculum that is based on that age. Well, most of us know that not every kid works very seamlessly on one straight line. Third grade, 9 years old. Fourth grade, 9 years old. Maybe they're on a fifth grade reading level, but maybe they're on a second grade math level. Well, if they're in fourth grade, they're telling them you got to do fourth grade math. You need to excel at fourth grade math and fourth grade reading. Well, how about you put them back on second grade to make sure they get that foundation and continue to build until they reach up to fourth grade. And if they're doing fifth grade reading, then let them start on fifth grade and keep moving. Why do we hold them into these little age boxes? I could go on and on about that, and I will in that methods, but I'm going to show you all the different ways that you can teach, all the different types of curriculum, how you can mix and match and create your own. Some of it's free, some of it's paid. You can get teachers to help. There's so much stuff out there. Number 5 is creating the custom learning experiences. So once you know all those models and styles, then I'm going to explain how do you take that and create something that is going to work for you and your kid, and how do you modify it if it's not working. You don't have to pick something for 1 year and stick with it. If it's not working, you can change it. So that's what Module 5 is going to show you, how to create these experiences and this curriculum or learning adventures, whatever you want to call it, and show you how to pull in what you know from the models and the methods of teaching, your kids' interests and passions, and how you can take all that and combine and create something unique for them. And then the last one that I'm going to go over in that workshop is just measuring momentum. So instead of doing standardized tests, there's a lot of different ways that we can be measuring kids' learning. So this is going to go over some of the best ways that you can measure their learning and keep track of their progress. And I'm going to give you some tools and resources for that. So this free workshop is something that I'm offering because I truly, truly believe that this is the way that we need to start doing schooling for our kids, especially if you're pulling kids out for homeschooling and you're overwhelmed. So the workshop is really just a foundational, hey, here's everything you need to know, the basic things you need to know, here's some resources, here's how to get you started. And then after that, I will have more resources and more courses that I will let you know about in that. But the workshop's free because I just really think that it's important. And I want you to know that there are resources out there that you can access. And then if you still want help, I will have some paid classes that are offered, and I will have some mentoring and coaching available as well. But I really want you to go through the workshop, or you can reach out on the Freedom Education Movement website as well if you want to know more about that, or just jump right into some coaching or some of those classes. So if you've made it this far, I'm so excited because it means you really do want to find something that's going to help you make that change and create that environment for your kid that is going to help them thrive and grow and be empowered in life and in their education. And I do believe that the Freedom Education Movement is going to help you be able to do that. I'm so passionate about this, and I'm so passionate about helping parents, which is why I'm offering the workshop for free, and why I'm going to have the free Facebook group and other resources online as well, because it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. I want you to be able to provide what your kids need. It's so important, because when kids have the freedom to pursue their passions and chase their dreams, they're free to become who they were created to be. The time is ticking away. We're never going to get our kids back. The pandemic has taken so much the last couple years, and this is the perfect time to embrace opportunity to change and shift the path of education that your kid is on. I believe in you. You've got this. I'm here for you. I hope to see you at the workshop.